I don't understand why a nice guy who's white is better than a nice guy who's black. What's up, family? Welcome back. I'm your host, Thatbaldbrutha. Thank you for checking out the video. Hope you're doing well. We're going over to We Need to Talk again for one more video. This time we're dealing with the divestment community. I'm really looking forward to hearing about what they got to say about this. Let's get into it.
So, for instance, Serena Williams, she ended up marrying a white dude and having a kid. You have like the rapper Eve, she ended up with a white man, or, a myriad of other celebrities. And the popular thing now is, girl, get you a white boy, they treat you better, this, and that. So the question is, why are Black women always softer when they get a white man? And it's popular on TikTok too.
I don't think it's that. I will say you have your challenges with white men too. And it's mostly surrounding like cultural differences surrounding their families and a lot of subdue racism.
Yep.
But I think with that is because white men don't have, or a lot of white men, they don't really try to prove their alphaness. Like they just kind of assimilate to whatever dynamic you present. So like with a Black dude or some Black dude, you hear them saying like, my woman has to cook. I'm not gonna do this. She gotta be the cook in the house. If she cook, I ain't gonna be with her. But then you talk to white men, it's like, oh, I wanna make you a food. So it's like, they're not coming as abrasively. So it lets you break down your walls almost. Like you don't have to, I see that face. It's like, they're not having all these expectations because they don't necessarily have to. And so when you're in a relationship with them, you don't necessarily feel like you have all of these checks and boxes that you have to meet. Like you don't have to be the person who cooks. He can cook, he can wash dishes. You don't have to be the girl who does X, Y, and Z. Like a lot of, especially when you watch like reality TV or TV shows that has to do with like white family dynamics, a lot of the women don't do nothing. They're housewives who go shopping and they go out to buy tea and just chill with their girls all day while the man goes to work, comes home and cooks, or finds somebody who's going to cook for them. And he does everything. All he does is take care of her. And even
Let's be clear about something though. That's TV, and reality TV is produced, and what that means is that they are told and that things are embellished and exaggerated on purpose. Now, are there households out there, white and Black, where the man is doing this and the woman is going out with her friends? Yeah, that's a real thing too. But I don't think so. What you're saying what it sounds like you're saying is that because a white man caters to his woman, let's say, and Black men don't cater to their women, that's what makes them more appealing. I mean, again, I can't speak for the dudes that don't cater, don't appreciate women, because I'm not one of them. So I'm sure there's dudes out there just the same way there are women out there that don't appreciate good men. So, but I don't know that that's reason enough to just completely give up on Black men as a whole. I think you just need to change your perspective, change your circle, and get around people that appreciate you, Black or white.
on these famous TikToks of like, what do you do for a living? You see a lot of white women who's just like, I'm a stay-at-home wife. And their white husbands are taking care of everything else. So it's like, when you get into that scene where you feel like comfortable because he's not showing all this abrasiveness or demand, it becomes easier to let go. Sometimes in a Black dynamic, the men have all of these expectations, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but they have all these expectations that they push on you, and it has a wall that you build up. It lets you build this wall up because it's like now you're both fighting against each other rather than working together.
So you're saying that some Black women, I won't say all, I'll say some Black women want the white woman's dream to be able to sit at home and do nothing and the husband do everything. So it's jealousy is what it comes down to. Interesting.
I get that and I understand that. I guess what I'm trying to get at is more so, you know, the song with Destiny Child and Lil Wayne Soldier. You know, for a lot of Black women, that shaped their ideal of what a Black man should be: a rough and tumble, or a thug, you know, protector, this and that, right? And they preach that message not just to the women, but they also preach that message to the men. And then somebody like Eve, for example, went the complete opposite way. So it's like, I'm telling you to be a thug and risk your life so I can see your masculinity. But I have none of those expectations for Chad because I see him as a full human being. So my first question is, I think that's a good point. Chad doesn't mind cooking or whatever. He's comfortable in his masculinity. Why do you think that is? And should some accommodations be made for Black men, given the reasons why he might feel more of a need to assert his masculinity?
I think Black people as a whole struggle with identity.
Yep.
I think we have and we operate a lot due to trauma. White people have they've been able to be themselves authentically throughout time. They don't have to be another person. They don't have to really have another identity because whatever they present to themselves has always been acceptable. But
Interesting.
with Black people,
Good
and
point.
especially Black men, they can't be anything. They can't be the soft person because if they are soft, then you're really threatened by your environment. You're more vulnerable to being attacked. You can't be that hard person because either way, like you're going to be attacked. But as a tough, macho, brute Black man, you're less vulnerable because you have less people who are willing to attack you. If that makes sense. What I'm
It's a
trying to say.
catch-22.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. But you are more protected because if you look tough, less people are willing to really try you. But then they take that toughness and that masculinity and that harshness into their relationships. And I think that's where it becomes toxic.
So maybe in a way, because Black men have to hop from one foot to the other, trying to maintain a facade of intimidation, but also having to protect themselves from the whole being vulnerable side of things because of the way people see us, that frustrating, that is a tough thing to do, and the frustration from that gets projected into the relationships. I never thought about that. That's possible. That the internal trauma that we deal with every day and the stresses we live with, having targets on our back and front, frankly, that could be, and knowing that where we stand in this society that we live in could be creating feelings that we tend to project into the relationship, which causes that kind of toxicity.
They don't know when to differentiate it. I'm not saying it's like they can, because that's the identity you had to grow up in. Like that's how you had to identify as a street dude or as a hard person in general. So a white man can just be a white man. A white man can be, and in corporate America, I'm in the military, and in the military I see this a lot. I can see white people in the conference room say whatever types of jokes that they want or act any type of way, and it gets pushed to the side. But I feel, and this may not be true, this is just how I feel like I always have to present a certain image, otherwise I won't be promoted or I won't be looked. I won't be looked at professionally, and that might inhibit my growth. And I think it's the same for Black men. They they have to be this tough exterior. They have to have this tough exterior. And then it becomes so part of them that they don't know how to let it go.
Turn it off. Right.
I think what makes a bunch of Black men upset at situations like Eve is because a lot of men initially, high school, college, were overlooked because they were the nice, meek, more submissive, or nerdy guy, right? And later on, that same girl complains about how Black men ain't shit, and then goes after a white man who is the same exact thing as what she shitted on.
Just different color.
Because just like you said, he gets a wider spectrum to be a person. And you are a man just by default. So
White privilege is a thing. And they get a pass for, they get a pass for a lot of shit. So, and we are all constantly walking on eggshells, Black women and Black men alike. She mentioned the whole thing about being in corporate America. Yeah, we got to be tough, but at the same time, we also got to be very delicate with how we carry ourselves in our job, in our workplace. Otherwise, we find ourselves getting, we have people pull you aside saying you're acting very intimidating, you're coming across very aggressive, that kind of thing. So we got to learn, we have to dial it back in corporate America too sometimes. So we do a dance there.
So the question is just how Black men, I know as a Black man, I have to be sensitive to the fact that white supremacy has tried to tell you that you're not beautiful. Should Black women be sensitive to the fact that white supremacy has tried to tell Black men that they're not men?
How about that?
Yeah, I think they should.
And why aren't they?
That's what I was trying to elaborate, but I was trying to really see or think deeply about that. I definitely think they should. I think the problem is by the time women start dating these Black men and trying to really have a serious relationship, they're on a time crunch and they're no longer interested in breaking down your barriers as much or for a longer period of time, this extended period of time. So it's like,
are women selfish? Because unfortunately, I mean, the thing you're going to hear a lot is a lot of these ain't shit dudes that we're complaining about were either created by toxic mothers or incentivized by toxic girls in high school. And then later on, because I'm on a time crunch, forget what you got going on. Forget the fact that your girlfriend in high school cheated on you with the captain of the football team because you were too nerdy. Right. I'm just, you know what I mean? Forget all that. Throw your trauma out. But I have to be sensitive about what you have going on. And if you're not ready, I'm just going to a white boy who's always been the thing that I didn't even want you to be in high school.
Yeah. Tough question.
Yeah.
It sounds like men get zero sympathy, right?
It does. It does. But I think it's harder to give them sympathy because they make it seem like they don't necessarily want it.
So what?
There's a good analogy. I think he's a psychologist. His name is Dr. Warren Farrell. And he talks about the buck, the animal, the buck with the horns. And he said one of the things that's interesting about the buck that translates to the human species is the female bucks select male bucks based on the size of their horns, right? And how elaborate and big that they are, right? And the bigger and more elaborate your horns are, the easier it is for the females to select you, right? So females are incentivizing bigger and more aggressive horns. As a consequence, the bigger and more aggressive your horns are, the more likely you are to have arthritis. And a lot of bucks have problems and even die from that. So the dilemma is the more attractive you are to the female of a species, the more dangerous you are to yourself. Yeah, and that is a masculine dilemma.
That is very well put. Holy shit. That's very well put. Because in order to be more appealing to Black women, you have to be more vulnerable. But like you said in the other analogy, that's what you women have run. Well, not you women. Some women have run from all their lives. And then you get to a certain age where your clock is ticking, and now you want to go ahead and meet and get that guy that you were ducking and dodging back in the day. Mind you, he has now suffered traumatizing events and going through a lot of heartbreak that he's carrying along with. And you don't have time for that. You want him to get over it because you're ready.
Can you give me an example in like the human form?
I was actually talking to Danny and David in high school, right? And they were talking about how, you know, when they try to talk to them, then they go to a white school, predominantly white school. And they said they made a concerted effort to talk to the Black girls. And what they found was the Black girls wanted them to be gangster. The Black girls wanted them to be rough around the edges and all that good stuff, the Tupac archetype, right? Whereas the white girls, because they're big Black dudes, they already thought they were rough, so you can just be yourself. But the Black girls imposed, and these are girls, imposed on them pseudo-masculine expectations that then later on they're going to complain about.
But do you think it was just the Black girls?
That's what they said, yeah. They said the white girls already thought they were dudes, but the Black girls try to challenge their authority at every single
turn,
junction. And they said I don't think they realized they were doing that. It was just like natural to them. So where do we go from here is the question.
I don't know. Because I'm trying to think of like when I was in high school and how I treated guys. That's why I'm trying to go back to that point.
So I'll give you another example. Remember the Love is Blind show? Mm-hmm. And the couple that came out of it, the Black girl and the white dude, what was his name? But it was all over social media. Like they were the it couple, they were goals or whatever the case may be. Yeah, really sweet, cute white dude, you know what I'm saying? And really hurt Black woman who, you know, got her a white man. The essential got her a white man. The whole time I was watching the show, I couldn't help but think to myself, if this dude was Black, every Black woman would call him lame.
Why? What did he do?
No, because he's sweet. He's a sweet guy.
He cares.
What made him sweet? Like, what did he do?
He's a nice guy. He's just the nice guy that Black women tend to not like. Just a sweet, nice guy.
Okay, I want you to define like what nice traits you think women don't like.
Agreeable. He wasn't a gangster. There was no macho-ness. He was just like you described. He was more flexible with the gender roles. He was just a sweet guy. But it's like you don't get as much of wiggle room with sweetness as a Black man, especially with your own women.
Yeah, that's true. We don't get a lot of wiggle room. It's either Black or white, all or nothing. But with a white dude, he's allowed to be that caring, considerate guy. That's weird. I wonder why that's accepted from a white man versus a Black man with some Black women. Is it because he's white, there's a little bit of privilege that comes along with that, and being treated like that makes you feel a certain, I don't know. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about if you've ever experienced that and you understand what that's about, because Black women, please educate a brother on that. I don't understand why a nice guy who's white is better than a nice guy who's Black, or who stands a better chance of getting with a Black woman versus a white guy who's being nice. So maybe something to do with the pain or trauma that you experienced in the past with Black men. I don't know. So please drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. We Need to Talk. You've done a great job. Again, another fantastic topic of discussion. Let me know in the comments below if you have any thoughts on the topics discussed. If you like the video, appreciate the video, please smash the like button and don't forget to share. Until next time, be well, take care.